Beautiful Saturday afternoon, the day after the Preakness Stakes. And before we dive into racing here at Gulfstream Park, we have 9 races on the card for you today. Pete, we do have to talk a little bit about that Preakness Stakes yesterday. Our friends up in Maryland had a bit of mud and some rain and some cold weather, but still a brilliant performance in the Preakness Stakes. And congratulations to the connections of Exaggerator, winner of the Preakness Stakes.
Yeah, jockey Kent DeSormo was talking some serious trash after the Derby, commenting that he would not get beat by Nyquist again, but he backed it up because he didn't get beat by Nyquist yesterday. Exaggerator got a good trip down toward the inside and parlayed it to victory.
And Pete talked about that trip. We actually have the stretch run of the Preakness Stakes to show you before we begin our show today. And there's Exaggerator out on the outside. He's number 5. Nyquist was the number 3. He was out in front. One of the things that we had seen talked about so much was the very fast early fractions in this race, and I think it can't be denied that Kent DeSormo really moved Exaggerator at the perfect time. He got such a great trip, and even in defeat, a really game and valiant effort from Nyquist, I thought.
Yeah, absolutely. You can give the assist. DeSormo has to give the assist to Fernando Perez on Uncle Lino, as Uncle Lino would not let Nyquist get a breather at any point in time. Hot and heavy for the first 3/4 of a mile, and over that surface, it certainly took its toll on not only Nyquist and Uncle Lino, but everybody. They didn't come home very fast in the Preakness yesterday.
So there will be no Triple Crown this year, but definitely an exciting performance that we got to see yesterday. And word is so far that we might see both of those horses in a rematch in the Belmont. But of course, that will remain to be seen. But the Belmont Stakes 3 weeks away, and we still have a lot to look forward to on the Triple Crown trail.
Absolutely, we do, including the return of the 5th place finisher in the Derby. Sudden breaking news. That's my pick for the Belmont, and yes, I'm making it already.
All right, you heard it here first. And well, as I said, we have 9 races here today at Gulfstream Park, so let's give you a little peek on the kind of wagering that you can expect today. In the first race, that starts the $1 rolling super high 5. The first race also starts the early 50-cent pick 5. That's races 1 through 5 today. And then we will also have the Rainbow 6. There's a carryover of more than $63,000 today. That starts in race number 4. I'll have the early pick 5 and the Rainbow 6 tickets. And then in race number 5 starts the late pick 5, and Pete will once again have a ticket for that. So that's what we have to look forward to today. So with that, let's get started in race number 1. It's a 1-mile claiming event with a purse of $15,000 for fillies and mares 3-year-olds and up, which have never won 2 races. And as I mentioned, this kicks off the early pick 5. So I'll give you a quick peek at my ticket before we talk about top selections. I wasn't able to find a single in the pick 5 today, so $54 ticket, but still pretty affordable on this Sunday. And like I said, you want to be able to kind of spread it out, and that's what I did here. If you're able to find a single or maybe pare down a couple of those races where I went 3 deep, you could totally do that too. But $54 there, and I have the 1 and the 6 in here in this first race. I also used the 4. 8 to 5 right now. Very early in the wagering is the number 7. Doctora Dolly, the number 7 on the outside. But as I said, my top selection is the number 1, Alcadisa. Pete, who did you use?
I used the same horse as you. Isn't that amazing? This is a really tricky race. It's hard to have a strong opinion in this race because for everything that you can say good about any of the 7 horses in this race, you can probably find just as many things that you could knock them for. So I'll go with the rail horse Alcandesa. Second start off a bit of a freshening. I'm hoping we can get the race 2 back or 4 back. That would be just fine. Last time out is almost a throw out for me because Liberty Lunch took to a racetrack that was recently sealed, set fast fractions, and bottomed out the field. So I'll give Alcandesa a pass for that and hope she can run back to her race 2 back today.
I'm thinking for the exact same reason, coming from the rail there, looking to the race 2 back at this level as well. Had that sloppy track last time out. I also used the number 6, Petit Lapin. This is another one I'm looking at a races a couple back, was running on the turf in the last 3 races. She had a couple of solid 3rd place finishes on the dirt a few back. She also gets some weight relief with apprentice Norberto Guerrero aboard today. And then, like I said, I rounded it out with the 4, Nigani Coyote, who does have some speed, but Pete used 2 different horses in this wide open race.
Yeah, I used the number 5 horse, Magnetic Girl, for second here under jockey Jesus Rios. I'm trying to figure out who's going to stalk the pace setter. The pace setter will most certainly be whatever, Naigani Coyote. I'll figure it out before the race runs. I am one thing is for absolute certainty. The only way that this horse will get a mile successfully is if the far turn taxi picks her up about the 5/16 pole. She doesn't want to go a mile. If she were sprinting, it would be a completely different story. But by that same token, she'll be in front, so you'll have to catch her to beat her. I think the trackers in this race are the 1 and 5, so they're my top 2 plays.
Yeah, and that was one of the reasons that I did leave the 4 on there, is that will have to be horses to come and catch her, so I think she might be able to hang on for some of the minor spoils. Moving on to race number 2. This one is a mile and 16th on the turf. It's a claiming race with a purse of $17,000 for fillies and mares 3-year-olds and up, which have never won 3 races or straight 3-year-olds. And I used the number 1 Miss Visconti on top, and look at that. You did too.
Yeah, I sure did. Miss Visconti's last race doesn't count. She lost to a horse who was supposed to win in Sweet Miri. That race was taken off the grass about 10 minutes before it ran, so those horses really didn't have any chance to adjust. Sweet Miri got a lonely lead up front and then pulled away. Miss Visconti's race on turf 2-back was against Oxydata. If she runs that figure, they're all going to be running for second money. Honestly and truly, I don't think she'll run that kind of race today, but she does have enough tactical speed to stay close with the rail draw. She'll be pocketed up 3rd or 4th, I would imagine, and get first run on the closers.
I agree. She showed much more speed when she ran on the turf, and it's that kind of tactical speed that she might be able to use to benefit her in here. And I used the number 3, Adar, in second. Marcos Meneses is aboard. Gerald Procino, the trainer. This one ran at this level last time out and finished 4th on the turf. Hasn't been right up there in the action too much in the past few races, but could be one out of this field who might be able to run and finish in the top 3. Then I rounded it out with the number 6, Charanga, who's dropping once again, coming off about a 5-month layoff. Might need the race off, but I think if you cross out that last race and look 2 back for this one, and the last time this horse has been running mile and 16th, might be able to finish in the money as well.
Ignore the number 5 horse in this race, Mademoiselle Belle, at your own risk here. Jaramillo riding for trainer Reed Nagel, comes over from Tampa. Company lines are solid. The figure lines are pretty good as it stacks up against these horses, and a lot of the horses in this race take turns beating each other, so the number 5 is a fresh face against this caliber of competition.
It could come in and spice things up for sure. Race number 3 is 1 mile. It's a maiden claiming with a purse of $14,000 for the fillies and mares 3-year-olds and up. I used the number 3 Association on top. Second start for trainer Mark Cassie. Moved over from the barn of Stanley Gold off about a 4.5-month layoff last time out and finished 2nd. Showed a lot of early speed. Now has the 2nd star in the barn, and I thought out of this field might be able to show that speed and run away with it.
She blew a big lead last time. That's the reason she didn't make the top of my ticket. I don't like horses that blow big leads. She blew a big lead. Now, she might have needed that race. She was off since December, but nevertheless, she got run down by a horse who's in today's first race in Roraima. So if you look at the 2 in the first race and she does well for her first start against winners, that probably flatters Association. Nevertheless, I went with the Louis Duco trainee, the number 2 Infiltrata. I loved her debut run. She ran against the same horse that we're talking about, Roraima and Association. She lost to Association, but she made a big move while moving a little wide on the course to get into position, and it was her first start of her career. Seems to be more upside to the 2 than the 3. Those are my top 2 plays here.
I liked the 2 as well. She had to go 3 or 4 wide in that debut start. She is a little bit more inexperienced, of course, with just that one race there. Christian Navarro will be aboard, but I definitely liked her to run big too. And then we both had the 7 Calm on there as well. This horse working really well coming into this race as well, coming over from Tampa. Had a sloppy track last time out. The start before that was on the turf, and then debuted back in November at Gulfstream Park West on a track that was taken off the turf. So it has yet to really have the ideal situation for this horse running on a regular track. Dane Kubisky is the trainer today. The track is listed as fast, though the turf is good, but we'll have a fast track today.
Couple of notes there. Big rider switch here. Cecily Evans off, Matt Rispoli on. That worked earlier in the week for Hot. At least the Cecily Evans off part did. Dane Kubisky's horse last time out in Calm, she ran against the bias. The horse that won that race, Trick City, was on the engine the whole way, and she was also about 2 to 5 that afternoon. So her race is not as bad as it looks on paper.
So we are pretty much in agreement with our top 3 horses in race number 3. We're going to take a quick break, and we come back, and it will be Rainbow Six time. Welcome back, and as I mentioned, it is time for Rainbow Six. That starts in race number 4 here. Before we talk about our top selections, let's take a quick peek at my Rainbow Six ticket. It'll be races 4 through 9 on today's card. Once again, wasn't able to find a single today, but pretty evenly spread in a very affordable 43.20 ticket. I went 3 deep in the first leg in the 4th race. I always say the worst thing is getting knocked out in the first leg, and that happened to me yesterday with a 45-1 shot. So we're trying to avoid that today with 3 deep.
Yeah, but there's no way. You can't have that horse on the replay.
No, that's true. That is true. So you try and make a little bit of a buffer for wherever picks you're going to have. So this is the way I put my ticket together today. Again, $43.20. The horses that I used in race number 4 are the 4, 6, and the 2. It's 5 furlongs on the turf, a maiden claiming with a purse of $15,000 for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. And we're all over the place in this race, so I might be getting knocked out anyway.
I wasn't going to say that. I've enjoyed working with you too much, so I want to make sure I get to do it again. But it is Murphy's Law when you say I'm using 2, 4, 6 so I can cover this race, and I'm using 1, 7 on top of my ticket. The 2, 4, and 6 by far and away are the 3 horses with the best resume. So if you're looking at it from a standpoint of who's sitting on a win, yes, the 2, 4, 6 are them. But they've been in those scenarios before, all 3 of them. So for me, I'm going to go with a horse who's not proven that she has no talent yet. That's the number 1 American Kiki for trainer Gustavo Delgado. She debuted at the special weight level, trying the special weights first time. She took no money of any kind, went off 60-1, missed the start, and then was far wide on the turn. She was also ridden that day by veteran reinsman Jose Caraballo, who, in my opinion, probably just used it as an education run. Once she got left and then had to cover ground, no sense beating them up, especially when it's their first start of their career. So that was my logic. I think she's better suited to the drop-in class this afternoon. I hope she gets away better, though, and if she does, she could pose an upset possibility. This is her first start since the champion meet.
And she's also dropping from maiden special weight company to maiden claiming. You mentioned that drop, so this just might be the right start for her. She had a learning. She had that race under her belt. I can certainly see her running big today. I ended up using the 4 Dreaming of Eva on my top pick here. The reason is because I think that this horse might be able to run just behind the leaders in this race and set just off the pace and be able to move and make a good run in the 5 furlongs on the turf here. 0 for 7 so far. Moving over into the barn of Angel Rodriguez. Finished a solid 3rd last time out. Kind of very well tested at the 5 furlongs on the turf and taking a slight drop from the 16,000 to the 12.5 today.
No argument there. I'm just trying to beat some of these horses. They've proven that in the different scenarios throughout their careers that they can throw it away when it matters, including the 2 Breezy Song, who ends up on my ticket. The 7 horse is the Unknown Commodity. First time for Sano. I don't let Fasano beat me first time out, so on the far outside with Miguel Vasquez. The works are slow. This horse might need one, but nevertheless, the price will be right, and I don't trust any of the 3 favorites.
Sure. And just to give a quick mention to the number 2 Breezy Song, since that's one that we both use. This one making the 2nd start in the barn of Mark Cassie, went off as the favorite last time. Just one I felt that I had to include. I think that the 6 First Salute will be the speed, but there could be some upsets in the 4th race.
Well, like I said, the 2, 4, and 6 are by far the best horses, so don't necessarily listen to me in this race. I'm just trying to get cute.
See if you can get some prizes home.
Yeah.
Race number 5 is 5 furlongs on the turf. It's a claiming event with a purse of $16,000 for 3-year-olds and up, which have never won 2 races. And Pete, you have your pick 5 ticket.
Yes, but I want to, before we go to my pick 5, if the guys in the video room can cooperate with me here, I want to call an audible. I want to show the replay first, because that'll be a beautiful segue into my late pick 5. I want to show you the replay of the horse's last race that I'm going to single in the Rainbow, or in the pick 5. The 2 Swag Bad gets banged around at the start there, was kind of off balance, and then it doesn't get any easier from there trip-wise. Swagbag tracks Radamel, but right here, Swagbag's trying to muscle off the fence. No place to really work. Meanwhile, the eventual winner, Greg Rulesda, actually comes up in the spot where Swagbag was. Now, at the time, it seemed like Swagbag was getting the better trip, but now the rail opens, so Greg Rulesda is going to ride the rail to victory. It was close, though. Swagbag under a full head of steam, but the horse with the better trip ends up catching him right on the wire. But tell me, there's nothing wrong with this race. This horse's game all the way to the wire loses a heartbreaker.
Absolutely game, and I really liked this horse as well. I ended up using him in second because I had a couple of question marks about him. Used Big Distinction on top, but still a really big fan of Swag Bag. You said that's your single.
Yeah, it is. Let's take a look at my pick 5 ticket now. I'm singling Swag Bag and hoping to get prices the rest of the way. Swag Bag, the single for me. I'll go 3 deep in race number 6. I wanted to go deeper, but the more I looked, it just seems like it's the 5, 10, and 11. Toes Gray Cat, Great Aztec at a price, and Chillin' Dillon. 7th race, I'm going to use 3 horses. I think that covers that. The 3, Unbridled Hero. The 5, Springmeyer, who's an upset possibility. And the 6, Abounding Legacy, who likely goes favored. Race 8, price top climb opportunity with Bonita, who's my top play, and Fulfilled Fantasy, who will be a good price as well. Temple Fur also tossed in. And then in the final leg, a lot of people will single the 8, Diana's Daisy. I wouldn't be opposed to such an idea, but I wanted to have a couple prices. I'll use the 7, Rock Hard Lady with a rider switch, and a big price on the rail, Falcata, second start off the layoff for Sano. It's a $40.50 ticket here this afternoon.
We'll see if we can get some prices home at an inexpensive price. And I mentioned that I used the number 3, Big Distinction, on top. You didn't have this horse at all, but I really liked the way this horse has been working coming in, and that was the main thing for me. The best works of this field in my mind. Big fan of Swag Bag. Besides having a really fun name, this horse moved over to the turf again last time out, had that really game performance that we just saw, and I rounded it out with the 5, Wild and Wild, who broke his maiden on the turf, returning back to that surface after a try on the dirt last time out. You had this horse in second.
Yeah, I don't think there's any chance Wild and Wild can win this race. His best opportunity on the cutback and distance is going to try to be to pick up the pieces. I'm hoping Sammy Camacho can get Swag Bag not on the engine, because Radamel needs to go. The 7 needs to be on the lead, but I want to track that horse just from the inside with Swag Bag.
That's how we see race number 5 playing out. We'll move on to the 6th race. And this one, there are a couple of scratches. Scratch the number 3, Steve, the number 4, Caramello, and the number 8, Hugo Light. This one is 1 mile on the main track, a claiming race with a purse of $15,000 for the 3-year-olds and up. And we talked a little bit, you talked a little bit in your pick 5 ticket about a couple of the horses in here. So I'll give it a start because I want to show the last race of the number 5, Toes Gray Cat, who's my top selection here in this race and one that I know you had on your ticket. This was back on April 24th. He's the number 6 here, very easy to spot as the gray, as his name might suggest. Had to go really wide, got shuffled back at the early start and was a little bit more further back placed than he usually is, and just came running. It looked like he was going to be done. He wasn't going to be able to catch the speed. In fact, he wasn't able to catch the eventual winner, who was the 7-5 favorite that day, the 1 horse, but just really game effort, came flying, went through traffic, had to go wide, and finished at what I thought to be a very solid second. That seemed like some things really clicked. And this horse is also one that can sit just behind the leaders and stalk the pace a bit.
Absolutely. Everything you said is spot on. Even adding more to that is the number 1 horse that day, Valid Concept, who you saw win that race. That's the same Valid Concept that used to run like Toes Gray Cat did from far back and charge hard. Valid Concept found himself in an enviable position as he was on the lead turning for home, and with his kick, it was all over.
And that was all she wrote. And we both used the number 11, Chillin' Dillon. You used this one on top. Finished second last time out. First off the claim, now moving over into the barn of Donna Green. A really hard-knocking 9-year-old gelding. You can never leave Chillin' Dillon off.
What is it they say? They don't build them like they used to. That certainly applies to the number 11, Chillin' Dillon. I always root for this horse. This is as much a heart selection as it is a head selection. Going with Chillin' Dillon, he's a 25-time winner. He's going for career victory 26 here this afternoon. Barn change doesn't bother me at all. Jaramillo has the return call. He's rode the veteran his last 2 times. But to be honest with you, I don't think it matters who rides this horse. You could put a 124-pound anvil on Chillin' Dillon, and he could take care of business himself.
You want to ride Chillin' Dillon?
I don't think that's a lot more than 124 pounds. Let's not get crazy. I just think that Chillin' Dillon is such an old pro that the rider's an afterthought when it comes to horses like this.
And you used also the number 10, Great Aztec, for the price, who's stretching out again. I rounded it out with the number 1, Social Media, who I thought would be speed from the rail.
Yeah, Great Aztec is the price play here. He'll be a big number. His races at Tampa are pretty good. If he runs back to his race 2 back, he has a big chance at a big price.
Okay, race number 7 today is 7 furlongs on the main track. It is an allowance optional claiming with a purse of $44,000. It's for 3-year-olds and up, which have never won 2 races other than mating, claiming, starter, or restricted allowance, or have never won 3 races, or which have not run a race since November 22nd. So this one, we're a little bit all over the place. We both used a couple of the horses. The one horse that I used on top is the 6 Abounding Legacy for trainer Ralph Nix. He has 2 in here. He also has the 3-horse Unbridled Hero. So I put one Ralph Nix on top, and you put the other Ralph Nix on top.
Yeah, but there's an old racing axiom that goes something to the effect of don't bet on a horse to do something he's never done before. And that would be number 6, Abounding Legacy. Has been the favorite before, but he's never won as the favorite. And when you're talking about favorites and heavy favorites, if they've never delivered the goods at a short price, a lot of times that's a trend that I don't want to try to buck. And Abounding Legacy will be favored. I'll go with the Barn Buddy 3 Unbridled Hero. He's faster early. If he gets things his own way, he could be tough. He's also a horse that is kind of tricky to read. Sometimes he's huge, sometimes he's terrible. It's an all or nothing proposition.
Fair enough, and a very valid point there about Abounding Legacy not winning as the favorite. And Unbridled Hero, the 3, is coming fresh off a victory, won by 3/4 of a length last time. We'll get Edgar Zayas aboard, and does look to be one of the speed horses in this race. The other speed looks to be from the rail, the number 1 Fish Fan. This horse coming off about an 8-month layoff. Leo Gabriel is the trainer, and a quick stat for you on Leo Gabriel. In the past 5 years, first off the layoff on the dirt like this horse is running, he's 7 for 36 with a 19% win, 39% in the money with a positive ROI of 263. So I thought that was interesting. Last 2 races for Fish Fan were not so strong, but those were both in stakes company. And prior to that, he had a really nice 6 1/4 length victory. He is coming off that layoff. He might need the race. That's why I didn't put him on top and added the Nix horses in there, but I don't think that he's one you can ignore.
What can I add to that? Not a thing. I do want to talk about the number 5 Springmeyer for a second, though. Springmeyer's a horse that's 4-1 on the morning line. He's coming off a victory it was his first start since September. The horse that he beat that afternoon, My Johnny Be Good, was expected to win and expected to win easily. He actually tried graded stakes company in his career, talking about the 2nd place finisher. Springmeyer just refused to lose. My Johnny Be Good had the lead at the 16th pole. Then Springmeyer came back. Then My Johnny Be Good was in front about 4 jumps before the wire, and he got nailed right on the money by Springmeyer, who battled back. He'll have to run that kind of race again this afternoon, but I was so impressed by his last race, he has to be part of my picks here.
Another one where you can't really add too much. Impressive race last time out for Springmeyer. Can't argue with you there. The 8th race today is 7 1/2 furlongs on the turf, an allowance optional claiming with a purse of $43,000 for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. And this one, I used the number 6 horse on top, Temple Fur, who I know that you had on your ticket, but you used the number 5 Bonita on top, who I ended up passing on, but this to me looks like a very wide open race.
Yeah, this is a tricky race, but that's why I want to go with the price. If you're watched anything that I've done handicapping-wise in Florida over the last couple of years, you're going to just roll your eyes and go, oh, no, not again. But it's just going to keep happening. I will pick Chad Stewart on top every race that he runs here at Gulfstream Park. I did it in this race. I'm doing it again with Diana's Daisy. I'm a big fan of Chad Stewart. He doesn't get the credit that he deserves. He does very, very good work with his stock. And Bonita is a horse that has some races that would make her plenty good enough. Her races on this side of the state are excellent. She won her debut over the turf at Gulfstream Park West from far back. She tried stakes company the next time. She made a huge sustained move from the back, only to flatten out late to lose to Bellafleur, who was a invader from Pennsylvania. They tried her on the safe track at OTC. Didn't work out too well. Then they got ambitious and tried her against some tough allowance horses. I think this is a class drop. The only thing that I'm worried about as far as Bonita goes, she has to come from far, far back. That has not been a style that's been successful lately.
And that was one of the big question marks for me. Like I said, I ended up using the number 6 Temple Fur, who has some really nice works coming in here. This is a pretty versatile horse. Does have most success coming from just off the pace, stalking the pace there. On May 15th, went 4 furlongs and 46 3, looking pretty sharp coming into the 7 1/2 furlong distance. I also liked the number 9 Fulfilled Fantasy, who is a little bit more of a price, and it's interesting that you have this horse on here as well, because this one, Emisel Jaramillo, has ridden in all 3 starts, 10-1 on the morning line. Second race now off of about a 6-month layoff, and found a sloppy track off the turf last time and still ran very strongly. beaten just by about 2.5 lengths, has some speed, or can sit just behind as well.
I think we both picked the 9 because we're both good handicappers. Am I allowed to do a little red boarding or shameless self-promotion? I mean, the 9 horse has a huge resume for a horse that's 10 to 1 on the morning line. Bred to handle the distance. Her horse will be trying 2 turns for the first time. We know she can handle the grass. Had to need that last race. There's a lot of very conventional handicapping angles that apply to this horse at a good price.
Certainly, and just a quick note before we move on from this race, the number 6 Temple Fur, who you used in second and I used in first, so we have a stat on trainer Jessica Campitelli in the past 5 years with a winner last time out and on the turf. Pretty small sample size, 3 for 19 with 16% win, but 32% in the money, and again a positive ROI of 262. So even though this horse will likely take a fair bit of money coming into race 8, the positive ROI for that barn and some pretty good numbers there. Our final race of the day is a 1.16 on the turf, a claiming race with a purse of $17,000 for fillies and mares 3-year-olds and up, which have never won 2 races. And once again, we are all over the place. Let's talk about the number 8, Diana's Daisy, because you were just talking about Chad Stewart.
Yes, I was, but I can't believe I just got done complimenting how we're both great handicappers, and I think I'll probably get to eat a little crow here because you're tossing the favorite in the finale, and that's going to be number 8, Diana's Daisy. I'd have to imagine, again, we played a game yesterday, Into the Mind of Acacia Courtney. We have a few minutes, we'll play it again. I would imagine that at a short price, you're not a fan of a horse that's 1 for 30, am I right?
That is very true. Also had a little bit of a question mark. So the horse that you look at the last 3 races for thirds, pretty decent thirds as well, but it seems like this is a horse that's kind of one of those often a bridesmaid's, not always a bride.
That's exactly the story with Diana's Daisy, but when your name is Chad Stewart and you're me and Gulfstream Park, I'm picking you on top. I don't care. There are certain trainers on this circuit like Chad Stewart, Monty Thomas, and Michael Yates that come to mind that always will make my ticket.
All right, well, I use the number 6, Starship Kahlua, who looks to be the speed in this race. And I had a little bit of trouble figuring out how this race might play out. This one looks to be the speed, has apprentice John Cruz, who rode her last time, showed a lot of speed last time out, and finishing second. Cruz will stay aboard, so there's a little bit of weight relief there as well. Ran a 1.16 last time after stretching out from the 7.5. That was a very solid race there. The number 5, Fearless Princess, also has a little bit of speed, but might let the number 6 go. Will she be able to catch her? I'm not quite sure. Maybe somebody like Diana's Daisy, who's a big closer, or the number 7, Rock Hard Lady, who we both used, Emisel Jaramillo aboard, Gustavo Delgado, the trainer, might be able to close and catch the speed.
Fearless Princess didn't make my ticket because she lost to Antsy Dad, who was about 200,000 to 1 last time and got loose on the lead, and Fearless Princess couldn't track her down. She should have been able to track her down. We're talking about a horse in Fearless Princess who ran second behind repeat winner Divine Aida. That was 2 years ago, I know, but how the mighty have fallen, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. She's still trying to clear that non-winners of 2 category, so I'm trying to beat her. Starship Kahlua, nothing wrong with her last race. She lost to a horse in Moonlit Sonnet who was dropping for Orsino that was supposed to win anyway, so there's nothing wrong with that, and we both used the 7, Rock Hard Lady. I hope, and a lot of times you can make money doing this. This horse was a 3-2 favorite last time. She ran awful. Now everybody, because horse racing is a very what have you done for me lately game, they jump off the bandwagon now. She has a big chance here today. The price will be right.
Well, that's how we see the races playing out, and that's the name of the game, isn't it? You never know what you're going to expect sometime in these races, but those are our opinions. Pete will be back in just a couple moments to give you the changes for today, and I'll see you throughout the day. Pete, it's been a lot of fun doing the morning shows with you.
Absolutely it has. I was just getting ready to say that Ron Nicoletti will be back to his regular spot here at Gulfstream Park Stage on Wednesday afternoon. So I'll just head back to the booth, and as everyone tells me on Facebook, and we call this program Beauty and the Beast for a reason. My position is in the announcer booth. I have a face for radio. We'll be back with the changes in just a few minutes.
We've had a good time, though. Good luck today.
What do I love about